Ladies and gentlemen, when you begin to understand that God's word overrides human limitations, something shifts inside of you. You see, life is full of voices, opinions, and reports. People will tell you what you can and cannot do. Doctors may hand you a report that shakes you. Teachers may stamp you with a label that follows you into adulthood. Friends, family, and society may place restrictions on your abilities, your potential, and your future. But here's what you must come to realize deep within your spirit: man's report is not the final report. God's word has the ultimate authority, and his promise has the final say over your life. When he declares something about you, it doesn't matter how impossible it looks in the natural or how many voices are stacked against you. What he speaks will stand, and no earthly force can silence it. Most people live in bondage because they put more weight on man's word than on God's. They hear, "You're not qualified," and they stop trying. They hear, "The economy is bad," and they shrink their vision. They hear, "Your health will never improve," and they prepare for decline instead of fighting for restoration. But here's the truth: man only sees with limited eyes. They look at the facts, but God speaks from a higher place of truth. The fact may say there is no way forward, but the truth says he is the way. The fact may say you are unworthy, but the truth says you are chosen. The fact may say the door is shut, but the truth says he can make a way where there is no way. When God speaks into your life, his word carries creative power. It isn't just a statement, it is a decree that rearranges reality. When he said, "Let there be light," there was light. The universe didn't debate, the darkness didn't argue, and nature didn't resist. It obeyed immediately. That same authority operates in your life when God declares his will over you. It doesn't matter who doubts you, who resists you, or who walks away from you. If God has spoken increase, no man's limitation can block it. If he has spoken healing, no diagnosis has the power to cancel it. If he has spoken purpose, no rejection, no betrayal, and no closed door can erase it. So why do so many people live beneath their potential? Because they allow human voices to drown out the divine voice. They rehearse the negative report more than the promises of God. They magnify the obstacles instead of magnifying the one who holds authority over the obstacles. When you place more energy on the limitations than on the limitless one, you imprison yourself with chains of doubt. But the moment you shift your focus, the moment you decide to trust the higher authority, something inside begins to break. You feel courage rise. You feel peace replace fear. You feel vision expand. This is not about ignoring reality. It is about elevating above it. The reality may say you are struggling financially, but when you align with God's word, you begin to see provision differently. Ideas, opportunities, and strategies start coming to you that you never saw before. The reality may say you come from a broken background, but God's word says he makes all things new. Suddenly, you are no longer a victim of what happened yesterday. You are a vessel being prepared for tomorrow. The reality may say you have reached your limit, but his word says you will mount up with wings like eagles, run and not grow, weary walk and not faint. When you internalize this truth, you begin to stand taller. People's opinions don't sting the same way. Their rejection doesn't crush you like it used to. Their criticism doesn't define you anymore, because deep in your soul, you know the only voice with final authority is God's. If he says you are blessed, then you are blessed. If he says you are healed, then you are healed. If he says you are destined for greatness, then greatness is coded into your very DNA. It may take time for it to manifest, but once God speaks, the seed of destiny has been planted, and no storm can uproot it. This principle becomes especially powerful when you face adversity. Think about the times when life seems stacked against you, when you get turned down, overlooked, or counted out. In those moments, you have a choice. Accept man's report as the ceiling of your life, or rise above and hold on to God's word as the compass of your destiny. The people who ward them victory are not the ones who never face obstacles. They are the ones who refuse to let those obstacles redefine them. They know the higher authority has already spoken, and that settles it in their heart. Even the greatest men and women throughout history faced reports that said, "Impossible, Visionaries were told their ideas would never work. Leaders were told their voices would never be heard. Ordinary people were told they could never rise above where they started. But those who broke barriers and changed the course of history are the ones who believed in something greater than the voices around them. They aligned with the higher truth and let that truth carry them where human approval never could. You must understand that the authority you choose to listen to will determine the trajectory of your life. If you choose to bow to man's report, you will always live within the boundaries of human expectation. But if you choose to rise to God's report, you will break barriers, surpass expectations, and walk in a level of destiny that cannot be explained by natural reasoning. It requires courage, yes. It requires faith, yes. It requires persistence, yes. But more than anything, it requires a decision deep within your spirit that says, I will not be defined by limitations placed on me by others. I will not surrender to the voice of doubt. I will not hand over my destiny to human opinion. I will trust the one who has the final say over my life, because his word overrides every limitation that man can ever place upon me. When you hear the word no, most people feel shut down, rejected, or defeated. It feels like a door slamming in your face, like your effort was wasted, like you're not good enough or not meant for more. But what if I told you that no is not always rejection, it's often redirection? That word which seems to push you back can actually be the very force that moves you towards something greater. Every no you have ever encountered carries within it a hidden seed of guidance, a divine signal saying, not here, not this way, not right now. There's something better ahead. Think about how often people stop at the first sign of resistance. They hear one no and they fold. They hear you're not qualified and they give up the dream. They hear we're not interested and they shut the book on their vision. But what if that no was never meant to define you? What if it was designed to redirect you toward the exact place where your purpose, your talent, and your destiny align? The danger is not in hearing no. The danger is in believing it is the final word. When you treat man's rejection as God's rejection, you miss the opportunity to be guided into something better than you imagined. Life is full of detours. You might set your heart on a certain job, a certain relationship, a certain plan, only to have the door close in your face. And in that moment, it feels crushing. But with time and perspective, you begin to see that the closed door saved you. That job that rejected you would have stifled your growth. That relationship that ended would have drained your spirit. That plan that failed would have kept you stuck at a level far beneath your potential. The no didn't come to harm you. It came to reroute you toward alignment with a higher purpose. We are conditioned to believe that rejection means failure, but rejection often means redirection. Every setback, every denial, every closed opportunity is pushing you, guiding you, and molding you into the person you are meant to become. The problem is that most people never stick around long enough to see where the redirection is leading. They camp at the site of rejection, build their identity around being not good enough, and never move forward. But those who rise, those who break through, those who discover greatness are the ones who see every no as feedback. They treat rejection as information, not as condemnation. A no can mean you're aiming too small. Maybe you were chasing something convenient, but not worthy of your true calling. That closed door forces you to dream bigger, to stretch wider, to believe for more. A no can mean timing. You might be ready in your own eyes, but God knows you need more preparation, more growth, more strength to carry the weight of the blessing ahead. No can even be protection. That opportunity you thought was everything could have been the very thing that destroyed your joy, robbed your peace, and limited your destiny. The rejection wasn't punishment, it was preservation. Every time you hear no, you are being invited to reframe the meaning. Instead of saying, they turned me down, so I'm not capable, shift your thinking to, that path was not the one, so something greater is waiting for me. This mindset transforms the way you live. You stop fearing rejection because you understand that rejection is not the end. It's simply a signpost on the journey. You stop shrinking back when people close the door because you know that there now has no power over the destiny already written for you. Think about the stories of people who changed the world. Authors who were rejected by dozens of publishers before one, yes, transformed their work into a global phenomenon. Entrepreneurs who were told no by investors only to create innovations that changed entire industries. Leaders who faced countless denials before stepping into positions of influence that touched millions of lives. Each no they faced was not a wall, but a stepping stone. Each rejection carried a redirection that ultimately placed them where they were meant to be. But here's the key: you must refuse to internalize now as a verdict on your worth. When someone rejects your idea, they're not rejecting your value. When someone shuts a door, they're not closing your destiny. Their opinion is limited, their vision is short-sighted, and their decision is temporary. God's vision, on the other hand, is infinite, and his decision is final. And when you see no through that lens, it stops being something that breaks you and starts being something that builds you. No builds resilience. Every rejection toughens your skin, strengthens your resolve, and forces you to tap into a deeper well of creativity. No builds patience. You learn that timing is critical and that waiting seasons are not wasted seasons, they are preparation seasons. No builds faith. You stop leaning on the approval of others and start trusting the one who has the final say. You realize that your path doesn't depend on unanimous applause. It depends on divine alignment. The truth is, you will face no many times in life. Some will sting, some will confuse you, and some will feel like the end of the road. But if you hold on to the understanding that every no is redirection, you will not collapse under the weight of rejection. Instead, you will rise, recalibrate, and keep moving with confidence. You will stop asking, why did they say no to me? And start asking, what is this no pointing me toward? That question alone can shift your entire perspective and place you on the path that leads directly to the fulfillment of your calling. Changing destiny through belief and action is one of the most powerful truths you can ever embrace because it teaches you that your life is not fixed. Your story is not final, and your future is not determined solely by where you started or what others have said about you. Too many people live as if they are trapped inside a script that cannot be rewritten, bound to repeat the same cycles, caught in the grip of limitations handed down by family, culture, or circumstance. But destiny is not a cage, it is a canvas. And belief is the brush that paints it, while action is the force that brings it to life. Belief is where it all begins. What you believe about yourself and your future becomes a foundation on which everything else is built. If you believe you are unworthy, every opportunity will feel out of reach. If you believe you are powerless, you will never take the steps needed to change your life. If you believe the voices that told you you can't, then you will live as though you truly can. But when you shift your belief, you shift your destiny. The moment you begin to believe that you are chosen, capable, and destined for something greater, you awaken a new reality. Because belief is not just mental agreement, it is spiritual permission. It gives you access to possibilities that doubt could never unlock. But belief alone is not enough. You can sit in your room all day believing you were made for more, yet if you never take action, that belief remains a dream unfulfilled. Action is the proof of belief. It is the demonstration that you trust in what you cannot yet see. Action is where faith meets movement. You don't wait for the perfect conditions, the perfect timing, or the perfect plan. You step forward anyway. And with each step, the path unfolds before you. The combination of belief and action is what transforms potential into reality, vision into manifestation, and calling into destiny. Destiny is not a straight line. It is shaped moment by moment, decision by decision. Every action you take either aligns you with the future you desire or pulls you away from it. That is why so many people never experience change. They desire a new destiny, but keep repeating the same actions. They want abundance, but live with a poverty mindset. They want health, but sabotage themselves with choices that drain their body. They want success, but never commit to the discipline required to achieve it. Your destiny changes the day your actions change. And your actions change the day your belief system changes. It is an unbreakable chain. You can see this principle everywhere. Look at people who broke out of cycles of poverty. They refused to accept the belief that they were limited to what their environment offered. They built a new inner image of themselves, an image of success, abundance, and possibility. That belief then drove them to take actions others weren't willing to take, working harder, learning more, sacrificing comfort today for a greater tomorrow. Their belief gave them courage, and their action gave them results. Over time, those results compounded into a completely different destiny than the one they were handed at birth. The same applies to overcoming failure. Failure does not destroy destiny unless you choose to believe it does. When you believe that failure is final, you stop. But when you believe that failure is feedback, you act again. And every time you act again, you grow, you adapt, and you inch closer to the destiny designed for you. What separates those who achieve greatness from those who remain stuck is not the absence of failure. It is the refusal to stop acting because of failure. Belief tells you it's still possible, and action proves that it is. Even your emotions follow this pattern. Many people live under the grip of negative feelings, fear, insecurity, doubt, shame. But when you change what you believe about yourself, those feelings begin to lose their power. And when you act in spite of those feelings, you break their hold completely. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the action taken in the face of fear. Every time you act while afraid, you build a new belief. I am stronger than I thought. I can do this. That new belief then fuels more action. And the cycle continues until your entire destiny shifts from one of limitation to one of freedom. Belief and action work like partners in a dance. Belief without action is wishful thinking, but action without belief is aimless striving. When the two are united, they create unstoppable momentum. You believe you are capable, so you act with boldness. You act with boldness, so you see results. You see results, so your belief grows stronger. That strengthened belief then drives you to take even greater actions, leading to even greater results. This upward spiral is how ordinary people achieve extraordinary destinies, and understand this: no one else can do this for you. People can encourage you, support you, and even inspire you, but no one can change your destiny on your behalf. It requires your belief and your action. You must decide to stop rehearsing the words that told you you can't. You must decide to believe the truth that you were created with purpose, that you are equipped with gifts, that you are capable of more than you have yet imagined. And then you must decide to act on that truth, not tomorrow, not when conditions feel right, but today, even if the step feels small. Every great shift in destiny begins with a single decision to believe differently and to act accordingly. That is the power you carry. You are not locked into your past. You are not defined by man's report. You are not bound to repeat the same cycle forever. Your belief can rewire the direction of your life, and your action can solidify that change until it becomes your new reality. Fear, doubt, and discouragement are some of the most common forces people face in life, and while they are natural emotions, they become destructive when left unchecked. Everyone encounters moments of uncertainty, moments when the weight of life feels too heavy, or moments when a storm of thoughts tries to convince you that you are not enough. Negative feelings can creep in quietly, whispering that your effort doesn't matter, that your dream is too big, or that your best days are behind you. Left unchallenged, these feelings grow into chains that limit progress, suffocate confidence, and rob you of the joy of living fully. But the truth is, feelings are not final. They are fleeting, temporary visitors, and you have the power to master them rather than be mastered by them. The first step to mastering negative feelings is awareness. Too many people live on autopilot, letting emotions drive their actions without ever questioning them. They wake up feeling heavy, assume the feeling defines the entire day, and then move through life under the weight of that assumption. But when you become aware of what you are feeling, you gain the ability to separate yourself from the emotion. You begin to realize this feeling is here, but it is not who I am. It may be present, but it is not permanent. Awareness breaks the illusion that emotions are in control. The second step is alignment. Feelings are often triggered by thoughts, and thoughts are shaped by what you focus on. When you align your thoughts with fear, fear multiplies. When you align your thoughts with doubt, doubt intensifies. When you focus on discouragement, it deepens. But when you align your thoughts with truth, everything changes. Aligning with God's promises, with the belief that you were created for purpose, with the understanding that you are equipped for victory, shifts your inner atmosphere. You cannot always stop negative thoughts from arriving, but you can